talk about is the downward elbow block, right? And to call it a block is kind of a misnomer, because what you're not doing actually is blocking in the sense of stopping an attack or diverting it. What you're actually doing is trapping a technique. So this is really well suited when somebody's throwing something like a side kick at you. So you got some technique that's coming in linear, right? Almost always going to be a kick, would work against a front kick. Almost, I can't conceivably see this coming off on the back kick, but definitely on a side kick, right? What a downward elbow block attempts to do is, as the kick gets really near you, you want to be positioned such that if the kick caught you, it would just be right at the end of the range of motion on that kick. And what you're going to do is, as the kick makes impact, you're going to drop your elbow down on top of your attacker's foot and trap it in there, right? From here, what you're going to do is forcibly shift your hips, pop, and throw their leg outside. And what happens is that kick goes from stuck right at its intended target to thrown way outside. When that happens, boom, your opponent goes flailing wide open, right? Vulnerable to your counterattack. So this, A, is a trap, and B, it is perfectly suited and really more or less intended to be something that you can reverse the momentum of an aggressor, right? So somebody's really built into the momentum of a combination, and you're going to use this to break that momentum and then reverse it. So at any rate, take your power hand, put straight up high. As you C-step through, what you're going to do is offset your stance 90 degrees. So instead of coming straight through with my stance, as I pass mid-step, I turn myself 90 degrees. My attacking hand is now exposed to where my imaginary attacker is throwing that side kick in. I'm going to drop that elbow and trap their kick, and then throw with my hips, not my arms. Throw myself back to center, right? Then my other hand goes up, C-step through, off angle to the other side, drop, pop. There is no backwards on this one, so that's a nice thing for you, nice thing for the kids. But once again, power hand up, C-step through and shift, drop, pop. Power hand up, C-step through, shift, drop, pop. Students do it. Right. You start from a forward stance, and you can start them out here, so that traditional universal guard, but with open hands. And when I throw the block, it's the top hand that's your mover, C-step through, and you're going to fight for a chamber position and back with the hand open, but the block actually is here and out. So what I'm trying to do is take a technique that's traveling in directly towards my head and slap it basically out of the way. So the point here is not to have this really rigid arm when you throw it out. It's to just be very crisp with it, because as you know about redirections, it doesn't take a lot of power. It takes speed and efficient timing, right? So here, this is kind of the introductory version here. Boom, and stops. Boom, and stops. And you always kind of reset to these like kind of kung fu hands, right? The more advanced version is to just start from here. And what you're going to do, because we're in this medium distance fight, I have even less time to react to a technique coming at me, because that technique, the attack coming at me, has less distance to travel. So the advanced version, and what would be more applicable to a fight situation, is I'm here. I already know, since my hands are open, I'm already assuming that techniques are coming at my head. So what I'm going to do is just take my back hand as I C-step through and cross over my lead hand with it. So I'm actually kind of looking in between my crossed arms. Here, pop. Here, pop. Right? Because again, I don't need a ton of power behind this technique. I don't necessarily need the power transfer that comes with moving both hands simultaneously. I just need that nice crisp motion. Now that's just playing around out of the way. Bare hand attack, what you're trying to think about doing is making your hands into bear claws, right? So you're really, really making hooks out of your fingers, and you're just squeezing this imaginary ball in your hand. The way the bare hand attack comes off is you're actually going to reach out thinking about going all the way, reaching behind the ears of your imaginary opponent and slamming into the side of his head right at about ear level. So you want to put their ear right in the center of your palm. As you hit, you're going to actually start to rake your hands back across the side of their face. So this actually comes out just a little bit outside your own head and then kind of circles in and pulls back. Your hand position stays the same throughout. Here, back up a little bit. So, what I'd rather students do is start out from a forward stance, load like they're going to throw a reverse punch, but cut the step halfway. So, instead of doing a full C-step, they're going to step up to half position and throw their hand over. The ending position is a little bit higher than their shoulders, and you want a straight line from the wrist to the elbow, right? Chamber, step up. The punch needs to come up and over. So if you're thinking about an opponent standing right in front of you, it's got to stay wide so it can come up just over their shoulder line and then pop over just at the last second, just as it gets above the shoulder line and cuts into the head. So, chamber, step up. So what you're going to do, starting out from a forward stance, is your lead hand comes out, jab position, rotate over. The key here starts with the step. Instead of just your traditional C-step where you're trying to keep your hips square to your target, as you C-step through, you're actually going to close your stance off, or your C-step off a little bit. So your hips actually shift just a little bit, less than 45 degrees, right? And that's what that's going to allow me to do is I step back out, drive my hips home to give myself just that little bit of oomph right at the end of the technique. So hand out, rotate over, close my stance off at the midpoint when I'm C-stepping through. Step out, and as I get my foot all the way back out, so if you're thinking in terms of forward stance, it's kind of off angle, about say 30, 35 degrees, and then I'm going to drive this hand straight out. Boom! Right? Then I reset. Let me back up so you can see the whole thing. I reset, lead hand goes out, turns over, close my stance off, boom! Lead hand out, rotate over, close my stance off. Don't get caught on your own pants, it's a bad idea. This is also why they don't make E-pants with pockets in them. So you get caught, you're going single up set punches. Hand out, rotate over, close your stance off, pop, reset.